I would like to address something which relates to the way we communicate research. You see, we are doing a lot of research in the area of human rights. We've had so many university-based research projects, so many institutes, so many centers, so many PhD students have done research on various subjects of human rights. But the big question is, how are we communicating this research, especially to stakeholders, to victims, to policymakers, to legislators, to people in government, to bureaucrats, but even to people on the street. I think the deficit in communicating research has been one of the weaknesses of academic research. We have very good work buried in journals that are not accessible, buried in libraries that are not accessible by the common man, by policymakers, by legislators and different persons that matter. So there is an emerging trend now where researchers are using policy briefs to communicate their research. A policy brief is a document that tries to break down research, present it in an accessible manner, present it in a manner where it is very clear in terms of what the problem is. It presents the problem in a concise manner that is understandable by various categories of people, and then it makes recommendations in a very concise, simple manner that are easy to understand and implement. Various consumers of our research don't have the time. They don't have a time to pick a thesis of 400 pages and read through that thesis and discern what the problem is and discern what the recommendations are. So I think right now it's mainly non-government organizations that are using this approach to communicate their research, but I think it's high time that academics also embrace this method of communicating their research. It does not mean you can't have the academic piece. You'll have your academic piece in a journal, you'll have your thesis in a library, but then you have to break it down into an accessible manner. So for instance, for students doing PhD, it's my proposal that probably every PhD should be submitted together with a policy brief of about 5 pages, or it could have several policy briefs, because out of one research project you can extract different policy briefs depending on the audience and the messages that you intend to communicate, and the style that you use in that policy brief depends on the audience you are communicating to. It also depends on the message you want to put out there. So I think it's only then that our research is going to have an impact. Otherwise, without that, our research is only going to impact on professors who have the time to read the journals, academic researchers who know even the volumes of the journals, but for policymakers, for people on the street, for people who are struggling every day, we need to break down this research. So that's why I am advocating for I would love to see a situation where academic researchers embrace the methodology or the approach of using policy briefs.